All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of 5 Rounds with Eddie and Nick, brought to you by CrossroadsMMA.com. My name is Eddie Law. I am your host, and with me, as always, my faithful friend, Nick Pilecki. How's it going, man?
What's going on, man?
Same stuff, different day. So we were going to lead the show off talking about UFC Conor versus Thiago Alves. A lot of nasty shit that happened in that fight alone, but a pretty interesting card overall, nothing too flashy. But let's turn the tables here a little bit, because not more than a half hour ago, maybe an hour ago, the UFC held a press conference to announce its new performance-enhancing drug policy, along with a couple of things they're doing for their fighters. It's always funny to me when they make these special announcements. They put them on Fight Pass, you watch them, and they always start off really, really weak, and then they get into some of the real meat and potatoes, as they call it. So I watched it. I took zero notes. I know you took notes. You paid attention. So go ahead, Nick. Go ahead and tell the people what went down today.
Yeah, so today's UFC special announcement, which I had no idea was happening. I just got a notification on my phone saying that they're doing it, so I decided to watch it. It was basically about the anti-doping policies that they're going to do now. But to begin off the little special announcement, they were talking about some new things that they're bringing to the fighters. So the UFC is now working with Exos, which is a fitness and health organization, along with Fusionetics, which is also another fitness and health organization, to help the fighters properly learn how to train and listen to their bodies, which, in my opinion, it's kind of cool that they're going to do this for their fighters and everything like that. They also held a social media training throughout the weekend about how to talk to your fans through social media, how to properly post things on social media and not look like a dumbass doing it, which, understandable, that's fine. But in my opinion, I think as social media, that's how they build themselves as fighters. They talk to their fans, they interact with their fans that way. That's how you build yourself as a fighter and as a personality. So I think that I can understand the social media, like, don't do this, don't have marijuana pipes in the background, don't have this in the background, don't do that. But I can understand that. And then they also talked about their growing partnership with the Cleveland Clinic, talking about brain injuries and brain testing and everything, which should have been processed and been doing, which apparently they haven't been doing tests on brain damage for UFC fighters, how much intake they can. They're going to do brain analysis tests now to see if the fighters should even be in the cage fighting and taking blows to the head, which is actually pretty cool. And then lastly, upon that, they announced the UFC lab, which they're building. I don't know when it's going to be done being built or whenever like that. They just announced it, saying that it's going to be a workout training center for all the UFC fighters and their coaches. It's also going to count as a rehab and basically learning how to work with your body. Hey, my arm hurts. Basically go and see the doctors at the UFC lab. And it's, like I said, it's not only for the fighters, also for the coaches to help them out, learn how to build their fighter and everything like that. So that was the beginning of the special announcement. And then they got into the drug testing policies. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, before, real quick on the head trauma thing. We know it because of the NFL having a massive amount of problems with concussions. We've heard the stories of players killing themselves. Junior Seau committed suicide, and he shot himself in the chest so they could preserve his brain and test it for concussions and stuff like that, and for basically for science. So the UFC now getting into this, which I agree with you. It should not even have to be the UFC that gets into it. The athletic commission should have been doing this a long time ago. So props to the UFC for taking a step forward. Also, on those partnerships you were talking about with those two companies, they're going to help those fighters stay healthy and learn how to stay healthy, learn how to train. They're going to be doing testing on those athletes to tell them, okay, you're weak in this area, you're strong in this area, but you need to strengthen this, and this is how you strengthen that weak spot on your body. For example, we all seen those guys at the gym. They got super skinny legs, but they're buff as fuck up on top. You want to tell that guy, hey, don't skip leg day. They'll be talking about stuff like that. So, So it's a good thing that they're doing with these partnerships. And when I was watching, I was like, okay, this is kind of dumb. You didn't really need to have a press conference for this. When they got into the PED policy, though, that is when everyone watching was kind of like, oh, damn. Yeah. So go ahead and get into exactly what they announced.
So for the drug testing policy, they officially announced the penalties and everything like that and how they're going to test. So they're going to test every fighter randomly 5 times, up to 5 times a year. And that's out of competition and in competition testing. They have a new spokesperson for it. It's Jeff Novinsky. he's going to be leading everything due to the testing, the who's going to get tested, what time they're going to get tested, and everything like that. So the penalties are they're both going to be blood and urine test. If for the first year or first time offense, you get 2 years possible upon circumstances. So if there's aggressive circumstances, as they knowingly knew that you're trying to cheat the system, or if there was many drugs in your system, it could be up to 2 to 4 years for the first offense. That's huge. That's huge. But that's just the first offense. The second offense is it's double that. So it's going to be 4 to 8 years. Mm-hmm. And then the third offense, it's basically a lifetime ban from any mixed martial arts or any activity inside that athletic commission.
All right. So real quick, you said 5 times a year, and then the penalties. I mean, right away, just like you were saying, you said 1 to 2 years was the first offense?
First offense is 2 to 4.
2 to 4. Okay, so 2 to 4 years for the first offense. That could end your career. Mm-hmm. For a lot of guys, that's it. It's over. Especially the older guys. But as we know, when you're banned, some guys decide not to train at all, and they if you're not competing, you get the rust, you get all that, but you can also lose some of the advantages you had physically. And part of it might be PEDs, you never know. But if you're not staying active and competing, you could lose a lot of your what makes you a special fighter. So, but I mean, man, those are heavy numbers. And mm-hmm. The funny thing is when they first announced this program was going to come in, everyone was like up in arms, like, yeah, we need more testing, we need to do more testing, blah blah blah. And then Twitter today completely mm-hmm. flipped. I kept seeing people going, this is too much. You can't ban these guys for 4 years. This is too harsh. You can't do this kind of stuff. Well, what is it? What do you want? You know what I mean? And people need to kind of make their freaking minds up. But was there anything else during that presser?
Yeah, and then stepping away from the PED use, they were talking about marijuana, cocaine, and recreational drug use, which, depending on your opinion on that kind of usage, I agree that it shouldn't matter. But any marijuana or anything recreational use, it's for first offense, it's up to 1 to 3 years. After that, it's double, and then after that, it's double that second offense. So it's hitting fighters a lot, and it's not just. If it's supposed to start July 1st, that's when the policy starts. But if you fail to test in the past, that counts as your first offense. If you failed 2 tests, that counts as your first and second offense. So it's going to carry over. So if you're Nick Diaz, sorry, Eddie, you failed 2 marijuana tests. If he fails again, it's going to be his third offense. That's a huge, huge penalty on his part.
The fact that weed's still illegal is stupid. But one of our guys, Jesse, chiming in. Jesse Rubalcaba, part of Cross One's MMA, chiming in saying it's not just 5 per fighter. It works on a per fighter policy and could be more if they fail or if they apply for any exemption. Those exemptions being medications for asthma, diabetes, and such like that. And then, of course, obviously if you fail, obviously if you fail a test, you're gonna have the microscope on you. People are gonna be staring at you a lot more and trying to catch you. But as they were saying, I think what was his name? Tiger, I think is the mm-hmm. main guy, saying that. Actually, no. Let me read the tweet because I saw a tweet from somebody that I wanted to read, and it's pretty interesting. Yeah, this is Jeremy Botter. I think he's from Bleacher Report. Yeah, Jeremy Botter from Bleacher Report tweeted out that he asked Tigart about the tests and the locations, the random testing and all that, and he said, this is his tweet, quote, Tiger told me after all the tests and locations that those tests and locations will be available on their website, searchable by fighter, per fighter. So you can look up when Anderson Silva was tested, Nick, and mm-hmm. and it'll tell you where they were tested and and the result of their test. That is incredibly detailed. I mean, it's like very detailed, very transparent, which is impressive for sure to me.
Yeah, no, that's what I like about it because it's very transparent to the fans and to everybody that this person got tested at this point. This is what he tested positive for. This is why we're suspending him. It's nothing's in secret anymore. It's crazy, but automatically disqualified. If you test positive during a fight, you're automatically disqualified from the fight. If it's after a fight, you get your purse taken away and you're automatically disqualified from the fight. So it counts as a no contest. If you're a champion, automatic stripped of the title. That sucks. no matter what champion you are, no matter how long you held the title, you're automatically stripped. And if you do not respond to the tests, so say, hey, meet at this point, you have an hour. If not, that's strike one. You have 3 strikes. If you do not do 3 tests in a year span, you're automatically suspended for that 2 to 4 years.
Damn. I mean, and here's the thing: they're gonna have to explain this to every fighter because, even during the press conference, man, it was hard to keep up with everything they were saying and all things. So good job on taking notes. But real quick, with all these details not coming out, do you think this is going to be effective in stopping guys from testing or from using PEDs?
Yes and no. There's just stupid people that are going to, I can cheat the system. I know I can do this back way. If I take this at this certain time, it will be out of my system at this certain time. I think a lot of people are going to get caught. I don't know who, but I think a lot of smaller name fighters and maybe even champions, maybe bigger name fighters are going to get caught because it is randomized. If you're not there at this certain time, you're automatically going to have the asterisk on your name. If you miss 1, if you miss 2, and then you end up testing the regular time. So you're going to have the asterisk like, why did you miss those 2? What were the reasons why you missed that 2? Were you taking something and you had to find a way how to get it out of your system before they found out? Like it's I don't know. It's going to clean up the sport a lot, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen with the sport.
Yeah, and it's you hope for a clean sport. You're always going to have a couple of those guys that think they can get away with it. Brazil, look, I'm not shitting on Brazil, but Brazilian fighters, a lot of them come to mind to me about how they're not they're now not going to be able to get away with a lot of the stuff that some of those fighters do because they're opening up that lab again in Brazil. So you can't just fight in Brazil anymore and get away with shit. So it's going to be pretty crazy with that.
Yeah, and leading the campaign for the anti-doping policy for all the fighters and everything is Edwin Moses, Olympian track star who ended up being the leader of this. So that they're getting a name out there, and it's good that the UFC is actually going to put this in effect. Now let's see if they can stick to it and actually do it 100%.
Yeah, and if the name Jeff Nowitzki sounds familiar to you guys, it's because he was involved in the investigations for, check this list of athletes out: Marion Jones, Tim Montgomery, the investigation into Victor Conti, Dana Stubblefield, Tammy Thomas, Melky Cabrera, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, the Bay Area Lab, Bill Romanowski, Jose Canseco, Justin Gatlin, Floyd Landis, Tyler Hamilton, and of course Lance Armstrong. So this guy is the guy that went after the who's who of cheaters. So the UFC is not screwing around. Look, big ups to the UFC for doing this. Is one of the few positive steps they've taken in the past year or two with the big stain from the Reebok deal that they're feeling the sting of it. Now they have said that they're going to pay for this entire thing. Any part of you wonder if maybe that Reebok money is going to be paying for it?
Yeah, I think a little bit of the money will help out with this because like they were saying, it's going to cost millions for them to do this test. They're forking out millions of dollars to make sure that this is that they're going to clean up their sport, and it makes you wonder what made them want to do this now. And someone asked that, like, what actually jump started you? Was there a certain fighter? We all know Anderson Silva jump started this. Okay, Anderson Silva jump started this. You and me were talking about it off the air that when Dana White got that text message, he probably passed out along with myself. That's what jump started this whole thing to go on. So it's actually good that a big name like that had to jumpstart this policy, and it's Anderson Silva, so he's helping out with something. Yeah,
by testing positive. What the fuck, dude? He screwed up to Brazil 4 or whatever.
Now he's gonna help clean the sport.
You know what? You tell yourself that. Anyway, and Jesse chiming in again saying he points out the whistleblower hotline to report fighters anonymously. That's kind of that's pretty cool, but I mean, who's gonna call that? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like a fighter inside the fighters camp, or a trainer inside the fighters camp is gonna report on their own fighter? I don't think so. But the fact that it's there, it's got to scare a few guys that are even thinking about violating this policy now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's actually pretty cool. I kind of like that because it's like, hey, I saw something, I need to say something. I'm a part of this sport. He's in my weight class. She's in my weight class. I need to figure this shit out. So I like it. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and again, Tiger promises complete transparency in the program. It's going to be done by USADA. So UFC is literally just going, here's the money, here's the UFC fighters information, have at it. And so USADA is going to be doing this, which is good. When the UFC tried to do it themselves, they screwed it up badly. Yeah, I do feel bad for Nick Diaz, man, because he gets suspended for weed. That's stupid.
Yeah. And then Andrew chiming in saying, do you think Bellator, WSOF, etc. will follow this suit?
No.
No. They don't have the money. They don't have the money to do it.
Bellator surely does. World Series of Fighting is always on the brink of shutting down. There's always something going on with those guys money-wise. But Bellator, they have Viacom money. Viacom's a huge company. They should do it. They're not going to do it because they're not getting the return on that money. All right? Think of it this way. It's like a business, Why would you invest a certain amount of money in something if you're not going to get a return? There's no point. It's like if you're let's say you're an MMA website, not ours because we don't do this, but like an MMA website that buys space on a canvas during a Fight Pass show, not UFC, and it's there, but what's your return on that? You know what I mean? I mean, for example, have you ever, have you ever gone on and watched an event and saw like a logo on the canvas and said, "Oh, I'm gonna go Google that right now"? Never happens, ever. Yeah. Except maybe Dude Wipes, just like Aaron says. I looked that up too. I didn't know what the fuck Dude Wipes was. I was like, Dude Wipes? The fuck? I literally did Google it right after, and then I ordered me a box because it was interesting. But yeah, and then Fred also chiming in saying that they should, the Bellator and World Series Fighting should. Again, they should, absolutely should. They're not going to because they're not going to get the return on their investment. But if they ever get to the level of UFC as far as how much money they're making off their events and pay-per-views and all that, maybe, and then the pressure might be there to do it. But until then, I think the UFC is going to be the only ones, doing that kind of testing.
Now, last question to you: do you think any fighters are going to jump ship? They're just going to leave. They don't like this policy and jump over to Bellator, WSOF, etc. Do you think anybody's going to just do that and then?
You know what? I don't think so, but I do think someone's going to get exposed. As a lot of people, you've heard it a million times before, things are going to get worse before they get better. In fact, I was talking to someone on Twitter, during the actual press conference. What is this dude's name? S.J. Rivers. Him and I will go back and forth about stuff like this all the time. But he made that point. It's going to get worse before it's going to get better. So we're going to see some names fall. We're going to see some legit names, guys that we're fans of, get caught and get suspended. And so we might see those guys leave, but I think for the most part, most of the roster is going to see that this is serious once those guys get suspended, and they're going to try and fight clean. What I think is going to happen, though, is fighters that are other organizations that are using that, they might be looking really good, elsewhere. Let's say they look good in Bellator, and they might be using, you never know. And then they jump over here, they're going to get exposed. They're not going to look nearly as good as they did in Bellator or in World Series Fighting or whatever other organization they might have been at. So I think that's going to happen for sure. But as far as fighters up and leaving, nah, I don't think so. Not to mention they're on the contract that had to get cut. But it's going to be interesting, man. We're going to see a lot of changes. I think it starts in July, so we're going to see a few guys get caught. I'm going to assume at least 5 to 8 big names are going to get busted, like big names that you did not think would get caught. Yeah. Using performance-enhancing drugs. So. Yeah, I don't know, man. And is Reebok gonna be, what's it called? Funding this? I don't know. They didn't give those details. It's in the millions, so maybe.
If I was Reebok, I would. You had two fighters that you. Well, I don't know if Anderson was signed, but you have John Jones who was signed, and he failed a cocaine test, and you strip him of that. If I was Reebok, I would, because it would help you out in the long run, so you don't put money into all these fighters or into these top name fighters and then they bust. So,
yeah, Andrew Reed tweeting over, watch Overeem shrink. That'll only happen if they stop giving out horse meat in certain places. So never know. But anyway, let's. Anything else you got on this real quick before we move on?
No, I'm good.
All right, let's up the water. UFC Condit versus Alves took place this last weekend. obviously headlined by Carlos Condit against Thiago Alves. Running through the results really quickly. In the Fight Pass prelims, Luis Dutra loses to Tom Breeze via TKO in the first round. After that, Juliana Lima wins the decision fight over Erica Almeida. Real quick, Erica Almeida, I don't know if you got to see this fight, but Erica Almeida is like a submission expert. Couldn't do squat off her back, so did not look good for her. Lima was just on top, laying and praying, but she was on top the whole time. So I guess good for her. And Almeida showed that she's tough, but she needs to work on her stand-up for sure. After that, one of the real killers that, one of the up-and-comers, Mirsad Bektik. Mirsad Bektik, I think he's out of ATT. Dude is a mofo, dude. In the second round, TKO's Lucas Martins, who everyone thought would give him a much better fight. Martins gets styled on, gets dominated, and knocked out. So that was a great fight for Bektik, who I'm looking for big things from. Then Jussier Formiga taking on Wilson Heiss. Decision win for Formiga of a fight. Then one of the guys that won the bonus, Honey Jason, winning via submission against Damon Jackson. Honey Jason's a scary dude, man. That, in Brazil, of course. We'll see what he does here. Then Daryl Till knocks Wendell Oliveira out, which I didn't expect at all because Wendell Oliveira is a bad motherfucker. Then Norman Park loses the decision to Francisco Trinaldo, after which Park said that the Brazilian judges are a joke. We've known this, Norman. Move on. Then, then the what I'm calling the cunt punt heard around the world. Ryan Jimmo took a soccer kick to the nuts, straight like field goal, man. Like imagine who's one of the better. Let's see, Adam Vinatieri. I think he's on the Colts now. Adam Vinatieri is about to kick a field goal to send the Colts to the freaking Super Bowl. All right, it was that kind of kick, straight all nuts. I mean, it looked intentional as hell. So if you guys want to see that, just Google it or YouTube it, and you'll find that kick. And you know how I knew it was a real kick though, is that Ryan Jimmo fell down and flopped around like a fish for like 5 minutes. Had the doctor look at his nuts, had his trainers look at his nuts, trying to figure out if he's okay or not. And then ended up fighting and the rest of his boring ass fight. Look, Ryan Jimmo's not an exciting fighter, and at this point neither is Francisco Barroso or Francimo Barroso. That was a boring ass fight, and we were glad to move on to KJ Nunes against Alex Oliveira. And KJ Nunes, and I know you watched this fight, KJ Nunes has no ground game to speak of. It's almost like he just gave up once Oliveira took his back.
Yeah, no, KJ just gave up. Once it was on the ground, you saw KJ just gave up everything. Alex Oliveira is a great jiu-jitsu fighter, and I thought KJ was actually going to take him out standing with his kickboxing, but no, it's KJ, once he touched the ground, he gave up the whole fight and ended up getting submitted rear naked choke.
Yeah, and we were talking about it last night at Keeper Warriors about, maybe he should just go back to boxing. It's like maybe he just stop fighting. That dude he needs to work on his ground game for sure. But after that, we got the co-main event, Nick Lenz against Charles Oliveira in a really, really, really good fight that ended up in an Oliveira submission win. Got fight of the night, so Oliveira took 100K home. Nick Lenz took 50. Honey Jason took the other 50. And then what was the statement of the night? Carlos Condit forcing the doctor to stop the fight against Thiago Alves by just obliterating his nose. What did you think of the fight?
Carlos Condit knows how to throw them elbows. That's all he did. It was crazy. Like, I haven't seen elbows thrown like that since John Jones. He just throws them elbows. It looked like punches when he was landing them. It just looked like he was throwing a regular punch. He was so fast with it. And he proved that he's still the natural-born killer, and he's still here, and he wants that title shot. He wants it, and I think he deserves it. He's the winner of the Rory McDonald fight should get him, or if Rory McDonald wins, I think you set up that rematch.
I think either way you give Condit the title, man. A title shot. He after being gone for a year from blowing out his knee, man, he looked really freaking scary. So yeah, just like you said, those elbows are nasty coming out of him. He came out looking a little rusty for a decent part of that first round. Once he got comfortable, Thiago was screwed. So big win for Condit. And for Thiago, it's like, look, man, the doctor stopped it. What are you gonna do? I'm sure he wanted to keep going, but it's good. It's good that the doctor stopped it because he looked messed up. All right, so that does it for UFC Condit versus Thiago Alves. What did you think of the attendance numbers? They came out saying it was about 3,500 people that went. UFC blaming it on the economy. Me personally, I'm thinking it's because the card was weak and Brazilians just ain't buying, they're not just buying that there's Brazilians on the card anymore. They used to. Now they want big fights. They want a Machida. They want a Silva. They want something like that. And I think it was Aaron Robbins last night on Keyboard Warriors that said that Thiago Alves is not as Brazilian as we think he is. And he has a good point. In fact, Alves put on Twitter and on his Facebook the day he got his American citizenship, his U.S. citizenship. So he is an American citizen. He doesn't live in Brazil or train in Brazil anymore. I like to give the Brazilians a heads up. Neither does Anderson Silva. Neither does Vitor Belfort. And Machida doesn't either. He only does part-time. So, if you guys are going to start hating on Thiago Alves because he's not fully Brazilian, newsflash, mofos, you guys are losing all your guys. In fact, Vanderlei Silva doesn't live in Brazil anymore. All right? And, sure he's a legend, but still, we're going to go by those terms, or by those standards. He ain't Brazilian, as Brazilian as you think. Anyway, so, but did you think there was, do you believe the UFC's thing about the economy, like the economy that did it?
No, I don't. I think it's just all the Brazilian fighters aren't as entertaining as they used to be. Like they don't have that. They're very entertaining, yes, but they're not as entertaining as they used to be. And the Brazilian fans can't just follow one. Like Eric Silva, he was huge when he first came. A lot of people, and then he got knocked out. And then you see it dropping off. Edson Barbosa, same thing. You have all these new up-and-comers that have been dropping off, and then you have these Russians that are coming over saying that, hey, we're here, we're going to take over the UFC and beating all the Brazilians. And they lost all their champions. The only champion I think that's Brazilian right now is RDA.
RDA and Aldo.
And Aldo doesn't put up that many numbers because he doesn't speak up. He doesn't talk. He doesn't say anything. He's just there. He's just a champion. Same with RDA right now. He's just there. He's a Brazilian champion. They're not producing as many numbers as they used to be. Yeah, the fans are behind the champions, but they're not behind all the other Brazilian fans or Brazilian fighters. So I think the Brazilians are just getting tired of watching their fighters lose. They just want to sit there, find that one guy to hold on to, like Anderson, like Machida when they were champions, and follow them.
I think they're missing the Anderson Silva because, it's like, no matter who wins or loses, we still have Anderson. Not anymore. So, yeah. And real quick, WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, actually just released a statement going back to the drug policy, the UFC's drug policy. Their statement reads as follows, quote, "We are pleased that the UFC has announced its intent to install a significantly enhanced anti-doping program, and that it will be undertaken by a very experienced national anti-doping organization in USADA." And this is from the WADA Director General David Howman. Continuing on, quote, "In areas ranging from testing to transparency to the sport's prohibited substances and methods, the UFC's program will follow a WADA code program, but for one exception related to sanctions. The UFC program will set the bar high for other professional leagues in North America, and will send a strong message that the rights of clean athletes should prevail." End quote. So, what it sounds like, WADA is applauding all the changes in the policy. So I guess good for them. I don't know. I don't care, but I have to read it. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Bethe Correia talking a bunch of smack, man. Not too long ago, Bethe Correia actually. Said I think she said it to Globo, the famous Brazilian website, but she said that after she beats Ronda Rousey, she hopes that Ronda Rousey doesn't kill herself. And then Ronda Rousey tweeted to her on Twitter, saying that suicide is nothing to joke about or use a smack talk. That her father will be with her in the cage when she gives Correia her comeuppance. So she pissed the champ off. Turns out, Bethe Correia claiming she didn't know about Ronda Rousey's father's suicide, which, by the way, everybody knows. Whoever watches those countdown shows knows. And then she ended up retracting. She hit the reverse real quick and apologized for what she said. Mind you, before she said that, when she gave out the suicide quote, she said that Ronda Rousey's sports psychology was weak. I argue there's nothing weaker than saying some shit and taking it right back. So as far as psychology goes in sports, I don't know. But what do you think of this whole thing with her and Ronda Rousey?
If you did not know that Ronda Rousey's father killed himself, you're stupid. Like you said, it's in every one of her interviews, any one of the countdown shows. I think Betch is scared now. She's like, oh wait, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Ronda's gonna kill me in the cage in a couple months. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Come on, just all those comments. She shouldn't be saying those comments to begin with. But if she's trying to hype herself up, don't take it back. Just go roll with the punches. You already said it. Might as well roll with the punches. Don't take it back because it makes you look scared now. And I would be scared too if I was saying calling Ronda Rousey she's gonna kill herself after the fight, and then saying, "Oh wait, now she's gonna kill me. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that." No, dude, go roll with the punches. Just go with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say own it. If you're gonna say it, own it. Don't take it back. You know, if Chael Sonnen said himself, if you don't mean it, don't say it. Mm-hmm. And you know, sure, Chael Sonnen is very good at playing with words, but at the same time, man, you can't be saying stuff like that crazy. And if you do, own it. Just roll with it. And yeah. So Andrew retweeting over that WADA statement is really important. I agree that because WADA is the organization that a lot of people support. It's the World Anti-Doping Agency. I believe they handle the Olympics and all that. So yeah, very good point, Andrew. Definitely very important. I don't care about it personally. I'm just whatever. But it gives this new policy actually a lot of merit or a lot of credit or whatever. I don't know. I don't even know the word I'm trying to freaking use right now. Anyway, moving on here. Let's talk this weekend's event.
Well, let's talk. I kind of want to talk about the John Jones.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Call that came out. Was it the video of the incident that happened? My opinion, that's cool that they released that. That's cool, but it's hilarious. The whole thing, like the situation was not funny, but how you see the cops actually talking about, wait, I think that's that fighter, that John Jones fighter. Yeah, there's some fight shorts in here. There's lots of condoms. Well, good job, John Jones, for having lots of condoms. But you know what condoms also carry, right? You can carry drugs and condoms. If you have 2 boxes of condoms, he's not using all of them, I'm pretty sure. And then did anyone else not catch the Red Hot Funyuns in the passenger seat? I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, look, man, when you get the munchies, you gotta eat, right? I mean, it was funny, man. The whole thing was pretty hilarious. I mean, look, it sucks that someone got hurt.
Yeah.
But that the pregnant lady broke her arm or whatever she ended up breaking. But to hear people describe how a tall black dude jumped a bunch of fences, a bunch of fences, came back, grabbed money, and then ran back over and jumped the fences again, was what to me was pretty fucking funny. But that video comes out. I mean, okay, cool. The good thing about it, I guess, for the lady that got hurt is when that civil suit comes out, that video is going right into evidence. And she's going to get paid. She'll never have to worry about money again, ever. And that's because she, and I hate to use this term, lucked out and got hit by a rich professional athlete that happens to have a lot of money and a bunch of names. However, here's a question on this. Why, John Jones? Why? You had everything, man. You had it all. You threw it away. It's horseshit. Yeah. I don't even like John Jones. That's some Fred Kirby shit right there for it to be on the John Jones train.
Yeah, no, I don't like John Jones either, but I just thought it was funny that the cops were like, oh, he's done. He's screwed. He's messed up. He's gone. Like that. It's true. He messed up that much. He's probably gone. And I'm still on the bandwagon saying that we're not going to see him back in the UFC anytime soon. Like a good year to 2 years, in my opinion.
You think he's the same if he comes back?
No, I don't think he is the same when he comes back. If you go through something like that, that's something like straight life-changing. I don't think he's going to come back the same unless he holds a grudge against DC. It's like, I'm going to blame DC for the car accident. I'm going to blame DC for me having cocaine problems and everything. And ends up demolishing DC, which I don't think he will. So,
you know what, man? I don't think DC's going to be champ by the time he comes back. But that's just, and I'm a huge DC fan, but I don't think DC's going to be champ by the time he comes back. So
you're saying Ryan Bader's going to beat him?
It ain't going to be Ryan Bader. It damn sure ain't going to be Ryan Bader. I'll say JDS drops down to 205 and knocks DC out. How's that?
Okay.
Because it ain't going to be Brandon Schaub either. So let's talk real quick on this weekend's card. I'll run on the card real quick. You stop me when you want to talk about a fight that's on the card here. Early Fight Pass prelims will start at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be kicked off by two guys that were on that tough Latin America season between Mexico and obviously Latin America. coached by Cain Velasquez and for Reese Doom. The two guys are Jose Quiñones, who's one of my favorite guys from that show called, his nickname is Teco from my hometown actually in Mexico, against Leonardo Morales from Nicaragua, who's undefeated at 5-0. After that, Ricardo Abreu takes on Jake Collier, and that will do it for Fight Pass. On the Fox Sports 1 prelims, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Joe Proctor is back to take on Justin Edwards, who I honestly I think I've heard of one time. So then Chris Wade taking on Christos Giagos, the Spartan. Then Brian Ebersol taking on Omari Akhmedov, another scary Russian guy. Sean Jordan taking on Derek Lewis. We got the Black Beast coming back to knock dudes out, and I think he actually does it. But we'll see.
No, I have to agree on that one. I like the Black Beast. He's from Houston. He got knocked out his last fight or fight before. But Sean Jordan's a beast too, so there's gonna be someone's going out. Someone's getting knocked out.
And Andrew Reid pointing out, we were talking about DC right now losing to Ryan Bader. He's not going to do that. And I was saying that DC probably won't be champion. Of course, Andrew Reid tweets over Alexander Gustafsson.
Yes,
he's still on this whole thing with Alexander. You know what? I'm not jumping on that train yet. I like Alexander Gustafsson. He's cool. He's fun to watch.
He beat John Jones. In my opinion, he beat John Jones.
And then got clobbered by Anthony Rumble Johnson. No one wants to give AJ any fucking credit.
So did DC. So did DC.
Gustafson. Yeah, okay. But Gustafson zigged when he should have zagged. Oh, he got caught. No, dude, you lost, dude. He lost.
Hey, DC almost lost too. If you get hit by AJ in that first 30 seconds, your life's hell. And so was DC's. DC's life was hell, but he learned how to capitalize off that. Alex didn't.
No, go ahead. Okay.
Alex will be champ 2016.
Damn, you're giving this entire year to DC.
Hey, I said DC was going to be champ within 2015 last year. I said DC will cut down and be champ in 2015. Circumstances made it happen. Same thing for Alex. I think Alex will be champion next year.
I hate to say it, man, but I hope they don't give Ryan Bader the shot. So I'm kind of hoping they give it to Gustafson.
They're going to give it to Ryan.
DC again. They said DC against Gus. I don't think so, dude. Hell no. There's no way.
You don't think they're going to give it to Brian after all the press conference stuff?
No, because DC punked him. You know why? Ryan Bader, no. Ryan Bader, you know what he said after that shit? Ryan Bader goes, "Oh, I'm not going to take that shit." Guess what he did? He took that shit. DC goes, "This is my press conference. Get the fuck out of here." What did Ryan Bader do? He got the fuck out of there. He goes,
and even with the big nig head comment.
Oh yeah. First of all, I read that shit and that was hilarious. Okay, but that will tell you that a lot of websites / blogs don't pay jack squat attention to what they're writing. Okay, he said big head. He didn't say nig head. Okay, Ryan Bader himself was horrified. Yeah, okay, he was horrified, and he screen capped and put on his Twitter.
No.
Yeah. No. I didn't say that. No. He was like, Betchko, hey, I put that shit in reverse so quick, went backwards. Like, no, wait. I didn't say any of that shit. We're good.
Which I'm saying, he should have rolled with it. We said it last week. He should have went with it.
He should have rolled with it. Be like, yeah, I said it, then what? And then, rolled up with a bunch of neo-Nazis. I'm kidding. Don't do that. No, we went too far. Anyway.
We went too far. Let's move on.
We were at what fight were we on? Okay.
We're at the start of the main event.
Yeah, the main card kicks off 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Free card on Fox Sports 1. Kicked off by Bruce Leroy. Alex Caceres taking on number 11 bantamweight Francisco Rivera. After that, we get a fight that was supposed to happen back at the UFC 177. Was that the one where Brown went out?
Yep, and then Soto was he was a prelim card, and he moved up and got a title shot.
He was supposed to fight Anthony Burchak, and he didn't. So they made this the fight for this one on the main card. My opinion, neither one deserves to be a main card fighter, but this is a free card. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And again, this fight was supposed to go down that day. Last time we saw Anthony Burchak, he was heel hooked badly by Ian Entwistle in Phoenix, and so that was embarrassing. He was gonna come back and take on Joe Soto, try to get back on the winning column here. After that, Thiago Tavares taking on Brian Ortega. Is he from Houston too, or Texas?
Yes, I believe.
Because I don't know why it sounds like to me like he is. Anyway, moving on here. Dustin, this is a big fight in my opinion. This is a good fight. Dustin Poirier against Yancy Medeiros. My opinion, I would say this should be the main event. In my opinion, I think both of these guys are really good, and you want to see Dustin come back and get back on the roll. but I do think that that Yancey's on the way up.
Mm-hmm.
And you can ask Aaron Robbins from Stand and Bang. He talked to Madero, so he's a good dude. After that, a heavyweight fight between Ben Rothwell and Matt Mitrione. First of all, explain to me why Ben Rothwell is ranked higher than Matt Mitrione.
Because I don't know.
Fair enough. So we got this. Matt Mitrione, number 13, heavyweighting is number 9, Ben Rothwell. Matt Mitrione actually coming out and saying that very few people can knock him out. He might have a point. But if Ben Rothwell lands on his chin, he might be one of them. All right, and then moving on to the main event, a main event that I looked at and I was like, Keep in mind, this was supposed to be the card where DC was supposed to beat the crap out of Bader.
Yep.
And then obviously that fight's no longer going on. And this is actually gonna be number 13, Tim Boesch against Dan Henderson. And I said this a while ago. I said this is Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson's done, and Tim Boesch is a mediocre fighter, in my opinion. Not excited at all about this main event whatsoever. Don't really care for it. I'm still gonna watch it because it's Hendo. You never know when he's gonna throw that right hand and knock someone's head off. But it's a fight that makes me not really care about it. What do you think on this main event?
I actually think that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to think that Hendo can't do it, that he's washed up, and then he's going to land that H-bomb. He's going to be relevant again. Everyone's going to be saying, oh, Hendo's awesome. Because I hate to say it, but Tim Boesch isn't, like you said, isn't that relevant fighter. He's not going anywhere. He's stagnant. He wins some. He loses some. He wins back-to-back, loses back-to-back. He's not that fighter. He's there to get a paycheck and go home. He's not going to get a title shot anytime soon or anything like that. Henderson, on the other hand, gets a paycheck, doesn't care if he wins or loses. It's always entertaining if he wins or loses, and he doesn't care. He's going to swing for that right hand and try to land it. So that's exactly what we're going to see, and I kind of hope that Dan Henderson lands that right hand.
Hey, man, any day I will watch Ben Henderson knock anybody out. No problem.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, it meaning anything.
It doesn't mean anything.
Not to me, not anymore. All right, so that brings us to our last segment, right? The top 5. And this week's top 5 is the top 5 walkouts. Did we say UFC history?
I said I don't care. It can be UFC, anything.
Well, let's go with whatever you got. So go ahead and go with your number 5. All
right, my number 5 is actually me, James Tahuna's Men in Black walkout. I was a huge Men in Black fan when I was a kid. And when I heard the song and he did the whole dance and everything, that was awesome. I really liked that. And a lot of people were hating on him. Why would you do that? You're a fighter. Blah, blah, blah. Let him do it. It was awesome. It was fun. He was doing it for fun. I liked it. That's my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is Frankie Edgar at UFC 136. He walked out to Kick in the Door by Notorious B.I.G. And Frankie Edgar does what he does, man. He comes out running. Before you even get a quarter way through the freaking intro of the song, Frank Yeager's already taking his shirt off and getting on all that done and patted down and whatnot. So Frank Yeager walkouts are always great, but the one he did at 163 and the one he did against Uriah Faber coming out to Tupac, California Love, and Frank Yeager coming out to Notorious B.I.G. kicking the door. To a rap fan like me, I lost my shit. I was like, dude, it's East versus West. Let's do this shit. And East won. So that's my number 5, Frank Yeager at UFC 136 or 63. Yeah.
All right. So my number 4, it's kind of not like a walkout. It's just what the person has on them. Dragon Ball Z fan, huge Dragon Ball Z fan. Marcus Brimage comes out with the Geiger counter on every one of his weigh-ins and his fights. Everyone's over 9,000 in my opinion in the UFC, and he wears it like a champ. I like it. It's awesome. Every time I see it, I geek out. If you're not that big of a Dragon Ball Z fan, or if you are one, if you didn't notice, Eric Silva also has the logo tattooed on his back. But yeah, Marcus Brimage is my number 4 because he walks out with the Geiger counter.
All right, my number 4, Diego Sanchez at UFC 95. You guys will remember Diego walking out to "We Will Rock You" by Queen and going yes, all the way to the cage. That to me was awesome. So yeah, definitely. To me, that was my number 4. Is Diego Sanchez. You know what? Diego Sanchez comes out always to some weird shit, and one day he's a dream, the other day he's a nightmare, and he's back to the nightmare on the dream, whatever the hell. But the yes chant is forever his. But yeah. That's my number 4. Go ahead. What's your number 3?
And my number 3 is actually your number 4. Diego Sanchez walking out saying yes. I was confused. I was laughing. I was hyped up. I didn't know how to feel about that Diego Sanchez. Yes, because he was spitting out of his mouth too. He was like foaming at the mouth, just going for it, all into it. And I really enjoyed it. And then if you're a WWE fan, we have a wrestler named Daniel Bryan that does that little yes thing. I think he stole it from Diego Sanchez because Diego Sanchez does it way better. And it was really cool that he did that. So yeah, the Dream is my number 3, or the Nightmare, whatever you want to call him.
The Nightmare. The Dream of the Nightmare. What does he actually come out to ever?
I think now he's the Nightmare because apparently he found himself and he walks in the cage. He's the Nightmare, but when he's out of the cage, he's the Dream. I don't know. He's weird, but he's an awesome fighter anyway.
He's weird, but he's awesome. What are you gonna do? All right, then. I'm gonna say my number 3 is gonna be Tito Ortiz at UFC 32. Coming out to Limp Bizkit and with all the freaking fireworks in the background, it was weird. All right, because we're used to the walkouts now that are not nothing like that. And Tito Ortiz, shit going everywhere. He's got the flag on him and everything. I think he had the flag on him. And busting out the Limp Bizkit instead of Eminem for once was to me the number 3 just because it was weird to see. So yeah, you're number 2.
My number 2, I forgot the song that he came out to, and I don't like that it's this fighter, but John Jones walking out doing the Ray Lewis. That was a year Ray Lewis was a beast. He was doing the dance every touchdown, every game, everything, and he ended up doing the Ray Lewis right before his fight. And yeah, so props to you, Eddie, because I know you're a big Ray Lewis fan. So
that's actually my number 2 as well. John Jones in Baltimore. Doing the Ray Lewis, the power up dance, what I call it. And coming out to that song, I think it's one of the first times started using that the champ is here song. Yeah. And I like that cut on the song. I can't stand John Jones, but that was a great walkout. So that's also my number 2. What is your number 1?
My number 1, and it has to be Ronda Rousey. She walks to the cage not giving a fuck. She walks to the cage knowing that she's going to do business, and look on her face. She doesn't walk. She jogs, basically. She's just stomping ground, going there, do her work and everything like that. Every one of her walkouts just gives me chills. I'm just like, she's going to do work. You're going to die. And that's exactly what she does. She doesn't take her eye off the opponent once she is walking to the cage and in the cage. So Ronda Rousey's my number 1 walkout.
All right. I got 2 number 1s because I actually got reminded of one that actually was really freaking awesome. But my 1B is going to be Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, whenever that song kicks on and she comes out with that mean-ass face, like shit's about to go down, especially against Misha Tate. She came out looking angry as all hell, and she's about to just rip this chick's face off. That was especially, like, hyping. Anytime she walks out, you know what, though? Especially because the crowd booed her in that one, right? They booed her bad. So for her to come out with that whole, I don't give a damn about my reputation, that shit was that's honestly probably the most perfect walkout song ever for anybody. So that's gonna be my 1B. My 1A though, and I'm gonna be schooling some people real quick here if I can screen share, but apparently won't let me. All right. Did you ever get to see Sakuraba and Pride?
With a couple of them. Why?
Do you ever see him walk out?
No. Well, I saw his one walkout for That's Just Happened. Yeah.
Check this out. Hold up.
With the confetti and everything. Yeah, the mask with the confetti. Yeah.
Sakuraba walks out with this mask in any of the fights that I've seen him walk out to. First of all, if you know anything about this dude, he was a scary motherfucker, right? When you in the ring and out of it. But to walk in like this, and honestly, these days we know Sakuraba is a very respectful guy, and he is, but he also had this bit of confidence and a little bit of a bit of a show off ish, type of feel. And this is honestly not from me watching him, for years. This is honestly from a conversation with a lot of people. Is that a lot of people took him as being a little bit of a cocky guy, but why not when you can beat the fuck out of most people on the planet? Mm-hmm. But walking out with the mask, and I'm probably talking out of my ass right now. But Max Reed saying more like Genki Sudo. Assuming that's what the mask is. What is Genki Sudo? Do you know?
No idea.
I'm actually going to Google it right now because I feel stupid for not knowing. Hang on.
Well, I have a 1B2.
Go ahead.
Of course, it's going to be Anderson Silva, but his second fight against Chris Weidman, when he kneeled down at the entrance and was sitting there for a good minute. I was actually kneeled down next to my chair at a Buffalo Wild Wings because I'm a freaking dork, and that's how big of an Anderson Silva fan I am. I was kneeled down before he did that, and I was like, what the hell? This is good. Something bad is going to happen. That was my opinion. I was like, something bad's going to happen, and I hope it's good. And something bad happened, and it was bad on my part. So that's my 1B.
Yeah. No, but okay, no. Genki Sudo is actually a Japanese singer, composer, choreographer, actor, and author. So I need to fucking read up. He's also a fighter, actually. It looks like on here. He's on SureDog. Going off the rails, people. This is what happens when you do live shows. Okay. Now I feel like an asshole. I know who the fuck this is. All right. So, but yeah, Sakuraba definitely my 1A on this one. Go back and watch Pride Fights, people. It's on UFC Fight Pass. It's worth the money by itself. You get a lot of history on there, and you get a lot of you actually find out why Vanderlei Silva and Anderson Silva and the Nogueira brothers and why we talk about Sakuraba and all those guys. So hit up Fight Pass instead of watching Kim Kardashian's bullshit and MT shit or MTV or whatever it is. I don't know. Stop watching garbage. Go watch some real shit. All right. Anything else you got for today's show, man?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, if you haven't watched already, we finally got our boy Andrew Reed on Keyboard Warriors last night, and it was really funny. Every time we talked, he first of all, the guy's he's a smart dude, but he was pretty fucking funny, man. Like, he had me rolling. So if you haven't seen that yet, check it out. Go to actually, I'm gonna put it on crosswithmma.com in the next 20 minutes, so make sure you hop on there. But I'm actually working on updating all our stuff. We had an issue apparently with iTunes that I finally got resolved. So I will have to re-upload all of our episodes. It's going to take me the next 6 hours easily. But we will be updated. All shows will be updated. Not all the 5 rounds will be updated because that's just a lot of crazy shit. But most of the 5 rounds will be up there. All the Keyboard Warriors will be up. And now the system's going to be working, good and like it's supposed to. You can go to iTunes and you can search us as Crosswinds MMA. Subscribe. That will go, it'll download automatically to your iTunes when you open it. Also, it'll be on now again, and now that everything works well, crosswithmma.com will have all the shows. I will be we'll be having a lot more op-ed stuff on there too. If you like reading, it'll be mostly me and Don Manos and all them. But what else would I want to throw out there? I can't remember, man. Are we doing a show? Are we doing a show tomorrow? Or are you working?
I'm off. I haven't picked an event. I'm trying to get my buddy Mike to do it. I know Andrew hinted the Valley Tudo.
I couldn't find a replay.
I couldn't find anything either. So we'll just have to pick an event, which we can talk off air about. All
right, we'll figure out an event here. We'll throw it on Twitter, or actually, you know what? In the next 20 minutes, send out an event that's available on Fight Pass. It's the easy way to do it. That you would like us to review. We'll take it in consideration, and then we'll pick one, and we'll do a show tomorrow. Oh shit! I just thought of something.
What?
We'll talk about it off air because there might be an issue with me being on tomorrow. But anyway, now that we broke the fourth wall 5 or 6 times in the show, thanks for joining us for 5 rounds with Eddie and Nick, and brought to you by CrosswindMMA.com. We'll check you guys out later. Make sure you like the Facebook page, facebook.com/CrosswindMMA. Follow the page at CrosswindMMA on Twitter. Also at Keyboard MMA for the Keyboard Warriors. Myself at Eli31. My boy Nick Pilecki at NickXMicro. Jesse Rubalcaba, who tweeted in or hit us up on during the show, is at SPW181983. And of course, Don Manos is at CBMMA_Don, if I remember correctly. So, which I think is right. So anyway, thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to you guys later.
Peace.